Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the 18th chapter of Social Science Wildlife. As we are talking about wildlife, India has a diversified relief and climate. Similar diversity is seen here in the wildlife. In the entire world, about 15 lakh species of wildlife are recorded, of which 81.251 species are found in India. This include reptiles, mammals, fish, and other insects. Explorations continue to identify other animals found in different forests. India is at sixth position among the countries in biodiversity. India has less forest cover. Compared to that, its wildlife diversity is noticeable. So when we are talking about wildlife, the wild animals, the animals which lives in the forest, we are talking about that particular wildlife, and it is said that in entire world 15 lakh species of wildlife are recorded, and out of which 81,251 species are found in our country, right? And in that particular wildlife, we have reptiles, we have mammals, we have fish, and other insects, right? So this is the wildlife of our country. Our first topic is zoo geographic regions of India. Natural vegetation regions have been devised on the basis of their characteristics. Similarly, spatial distribution can be made for animals. The wildlife of India is divided into 9 zones according to the similarities in their characteristics and their existence in any region. And these particular divisions are as follow. The first is Himalayas, then the Ladakh and dry cold area, then the forest cover in the lower Himalayas, then highlands without forest cover in upper Himalayas, then the northern plain, then we are having desert of Rajasthan, and then we are having peninsular plateau, and then the last sea coast and Nilgiri hills. So these are the 9 zones, right? The 9 zones of the wildlife of India, and these zones are divided as per the characteristics and the existence of the wildlife in any region. Biodiversity is studied according to this zoogeographical regions. Now let us see the diversified wildlife of India. The diversified wildlife of India, and thus the vast alluvial plain. The vast alluvial plains of rivers, peninsular plateaus, mountainous region, swampy areas, sea coast, dense rainforest, deciduous forest, coniferous forest in Himalaya and other higher regions form a vast background for the habitation of wildlife in India. So when we are talking about wildlife in India, so these are the places where we can see the habitation of wildlife. It can be the rivers, plains of the rivers, it can be the peninsular plateaus, mountainous regions, the swampy areas near sea coast or the river side, then the sea coast, dense rainforest, deciduous forest, coniferous forest in Himalayas and the other higher altitude regions. So these are the regions where we can say that we can find the habitation of wildlife. The animals seen are Asian elephant in peninsular rainforest, then one-horned rhino in swampy Brahmaputra river. Then we are having snow leopards of higher Himalayas, wild goats, musk deer in Jammu Kashmir, wild buffalo that is called Indian bison, then tiger in central India and West Bengal, good cur that is wild as in little run of Kutch, and flamingo in waterlogged greater Rann. So presence of great Indian bustard in the grassland area is noted again. In the waterlogged area, migratory birds from cold regions come down in great number. This include which are the birds which comes from the region where they are having extremely cold, and then they migrate from that cold region to the regions where there is a moderate cold or there is a no cold. So this include Siberian crane, pelican, Tibetan duck, conch, karkara, etc. So these are the birds which fly down from the other cold regions towards our country. Then flying squirrels are seen in the dense forest of Western Ghats. The Nicobari dove is a rare bird seen in Nicobar Island. Then we are having rare species of corals. They are seen in the Gulf of Kutch and Lakshadweep Islands. And along with mammals and many types of birds, notice should be taken of king cobra, snake, python, iguana, that is patlago in Gujarati. Right, so this kind of animals are also found. Many types of birds and mammals, they are found in the different regions. Along sea coast and other water bodies, various fishes, sea snakes, dolphin, shark, dugong, that is the sea cow, then octopus, whale, etc. They form a part of animal world. So these are the animals or the mammals which are found in the various regions of our country. Besides forest animals like fox, wolf, nilgai, deer, mongoose, rabbits, wild hog, hedgehog, they are seen in the agricultural areas. When they are moving into this particular areas, they are always fond of the crops, agricultural crops which are there in the fields, and then they fed themselves on it. Many birds such as nightingales, parrot, peacock, then weaver bird, then chibri, then pillock, then vulture, then carber, then doorbugla. They are seen roaming in this particular areas. So these are the birds which are now things like to know. Crane is the largest bird seen in India. Then Falsango is the smallest bird seen in India. Then birdwing is the largest butterfly seen in South India. And Cirrus is the smallest butterfly seen in India. So these are the certain things which are really rare. We are not knowing about these things, right? So these are the amazing facts for us. Next is wildlife and the need for conservation. While going to the past, it has become evident that there is a danger to the existence of the wildlife since last few decades. Before 100 years, thousands of tigers were seen in India. But now, as per the figures which were taken in 2014 by the Forest and Environment Ministry, it was said that 2,226 tigers were found. Tigers have grown in numbers, imprints which is evident from the imprints of their foot taken during last few years. This is a good sign. Vultures. Vultures are on the verge of becoming extinct due to eating the meat which becomes polluted by diclofenac drug used in the treatment of the sick milk cattle. So the vultures, they were always feeding themselves on the dead bodies of certain animals, but when this particular animals they die due to some sickness, and if in their body there is a diclofenac drug which was given to them during their treatment and then they die, if the vultures they eat this kind of meat, then vultures they become sick and they are also on the verge of becoming extinct. Leopards leopards seen in the uh, leopards seen in the forest in the beginning of 20th century, they have become extinct from India. Once the Asiatic lions, they were in Gir, which lives western up to Middle East. Now they are restricted to Gir forest only. With due steps taken for their protection, now their number is 523. Once cranes were seen in large number in Gujarat, but now their number is reduced. Wildlife is an inseparable part of the living organism, but the decrease in their numbers some ways and for some years reduces the quality of environment, which is a matter of concern. Shyam Garud, that is called eagle, is a resident of mountainous forest in Gujarat, now rarely seen. Chilotro, seen in the forest of Vijayanagar Taluka, is rarely seen today. So these are the animals and birds we can consider it as rarely seen. Now we are going to see our next topic. There are important national parks and sanctuaries of our country. So first we can say Kaziranga, that is in Assam. So this is a sanctuary. So which animals are found here? Rhino, that is wild, buffalo and deer. Then the Thar Desert, Rajasthan, desert wolf, desert cat and bustards are found. Kanha, it is in Madhya Pradesh. It is a sanctuary, national park, and the animals which are found here in this particular sanctuary is tiger and antelope. Then Gir National Park. Gir National Park is in Gujarat. Lion, leopard, chital sanctuary is there. Then Velavada Kalyar National Park is in Gujarat with black buck, wolf and peacock. Then Kevladev, Bharatpur, Rajasthan. Then Bandipur, Karnataka. Dachigam, Kashmir, and Corbett, that is in Himalayan foothills. So these are the sanctuaries, famous sanctuaries of national parks of India, and we have this many sanctuaries which are very much useful for the protection of the various animals and birds. So these are the important national parks and sanctuaries of India. You can locate it on the page number 138 of your textbook. Now take the page number 139. On page number 139 you will find the map. The map consists of national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. In this particular map, you will be able to see wildlife sanctuaries, bird sanctuary, and national park. It is given into the three particular colors. Purple represents wildlife sanctuary, then pink represents bird sanctuary and green considered it as a national park. So when you will study the map, you will find all these three in this particular map and you will locate it the following places. Now we are moving towards our next topic, that is dangers to wildlife. When we are talking about dangers to wildlife, why the wildlife is in danger? There is a question mark, that is, it is put against the existence of entire wildlife. Why it is said that wildlife are in danger? Only the answer is the human greed, right? So much of greed of human beings, of development in recent times, is the reason we can say that it is a danger to wildlife. It is understood that the wildlife has become unprotected as they have lost their natural habitat due to continuously decreasing forest. Hunting carried out to get skin, meat, teeth, hair, and bones. It is a big problem due to heavy grazing by domestic animals. In the forest, herbivores are deprived of their food, which results in decrease in their numbers. It will deprive carnivores of getting their food. So this carnivores eat, they reach human settlements in search of food and then attack animals. As they approach human settlements, situation of conflict arises between wild animals and human settlements, because when they enter human settlements, human beings, they are having fear of wild animals and then they attack on them, they will try to kill them, right? So this conflict leads to the destruction of wildlife. Besides, their effects of pollution is also adverse due to human activities. So we can say that due to decrease in the forest area, the wild animals occasionally comes within the human habitation. Human interference in areas of wild animal result into clashes with them, and because of these clashes there is always danger on wild animals. In south and southeastern India, elephants, they come in search for food and they enters into the agricultural fields and then they create a havoc over there. Incidences of injuring or killing man by leopards take place in Saurashtra and South Gujarat, and the attack by wolf is also noticed in the northeastern Gujarat. So a precaution is necessary to prevent such disaster. Now let us see what are the remedies to conserve wildlife. When we talk about remedies, there should be a planning. Planning is necessary to conserve and increase forest areas. We have to be more dedicated to implement strong legal provisions and their strict implementation for the conservation of forest area and the wild animals. Various NGOs, they have given top priority and they wanted to give public awareness programs. This problem should be included in the social syllabus and make the future citizen aware about the remedies to conserve wildlife. But before implementing and developing the projects, it is very necessary to find out the effects on environment and living organisms. Cutting off large trees outside the forest area should be stopped because the hollow space within them and their branches are nesting place for birds. Then ponds, farm ponds, wetlands, they are necessary for migratory birds, and that is why they come from the far off the places to make the settlements here. They should be protected, so there should be a public awareness for these migratory birds also. An active work is urgently needed to reduce pollution and to manage the forest fire, and anticipatory planning should be made for patrolling and safety. Whenever there is a forest fire, it is very much necessary for the forest department to help or to protect the wild animals and birds living in that particular region. Now take the steps taken to nurture the wildlife. So which are the steps taken by the government, right? So there is a, in since early times it is said that during ancient times also laws have been framed in our country to protect the wildlife, and this particular wildlife, protected wildlife in the time, it was also thought in the times of the great Mauryan king Ashok. He was also interested and he has framed the law to protect wildlife in those days. It is the fundamental duty of every citizen, and directive principles in the constitution also include that the protection, these things are the things, steps to nurture the wildlife, to protect the wildlife. Parliament has also passed a Wildlife Conservation Act, and according to this, Indian Wildlife Board in 2014 there are 503 sanctuaries, 102 national parks and 14 bioreserves. Of this, 22 sanctuaries, 4 national parks and 1 bioreserve zone happen to be in Gujarat. Some protection schemes are planned for those species in which they are on the verge of extinction. Let us know some of the projects. The first one is the Project Tiger. This project was launched in 1973 against hunting and decreasing number of tigers. This was implemented for 9 reserved areas, under which 48 areas are covered. Our next project is Lion Project. There was a time when Asiatic lions were found up to Iran in the Asian subcontinent, and that is why they were known as Asiatic lions. But due to hunting and reduction in forest area, these lions are now restricted to Gir forest of Saurashtra. At one stage, the number had gone below 100, but in 1972, a project was started in Gir to protect the Asiatic lions, and because of that, It is said that now we are having 523 lions according to the lion census held in 2015. Then there are some other projects, right? The projects like Crocodile Project, Hungul Project, then Snow Leopard Project, then Rhino Project. These all projects are taken up as a necessary steps to nurture the wildlife to protect those extinct species. Wildlife conservation is possible if the society and the government they show the firm determination to take steps in the right direction. Along with the development, we all have to be dedicated. We all have to dedicate ourselves to confirm our motto of environment preservation. Now we are going to see the national parks of Gujarat. Take the page number 141 of your textbook. In that you will see the table, the table of national parks of Gujarat. In the first you will see the Gir National Park, and it was established in 1975. Area covers 258.71 square kilometer, district Gujarat, and the major animals are lion, leopard, cheetal, etc. Second is Blackbuck National Park, established 1976. Area covered 34.08 square kilometer. District is Bhavnagar. The birds animals are kept Blackbuck, wolf, khadmore, and bustard. Third is Vasda National Park, established 1979. Area covered 23.99 square kilometer. District Navsari, and animals leopard, hyena, cheetal, and chausinga. And the last is the Marine National Park. It was established in 1982 and the square kilometer 162.89. It is in Gulf of Kutch, Jamnagar, and animals protected here are seahorse, corals, jellyfish, octopus, oyster, dolphin, and dugong. So this way, in our country, we have national parks and sanctuaries to protect the wildlife. I hope you have understood the chapter. Once again, go through the chapter, read the chapter, refer the map given on page number 139 and try to locate the same national park and sanctuaries in the map and stick it into their fair book. Thank you.